put it simply, in my words, my definition of spiritual awakening is when there's some spiritual intervention, some shift from this human ego, individual construct self. Somehow the consciousness turns and realizes its own source, which is universal. Something realizes there's a realization that we're not this individual self. The consciousness that localized itself as an individual finally realized its true essence, nature, you can say like that. And how that looks in the feelings or sensations that are associated with that is different for everybody. See, the mind and ego wants to have this checklist. So if there's spiritual awakening, it's like this, and then you're going to feel ecstasy and bliss, and you're going to laugh, or you're going to cry, or you're going to, stand on your head and dance, or you're going to do something like that. There's no. You can have an awakening and not even know it. You might know it a week or month later. And also, you're not going to have this overzealousness to broadcast it and show somebody. See, that's important. That means your awakening got nullified basically by the ego, assuming you even had one, and it wasn't imagination that was creating it. I like to try to bring to attention these little things because it's important. What's the purpose of just talking about how great a spiritual awakening is? You'll find that out if you have one. Let's talk about the pitfalls and the traps and everything and how ego can imitate a spiritual awakening. Isn't that more important? Because then that will help actually facilitate an authentic spiritual awakening. Or you're going to see lights and your third eye is going to open, and Kundalini is going to shoot out through your head. And there's stories in India that could happen where the guy had a Kundalini experience and all that's left is a burnt mark on the bed, basically. He's fried himself. But basically, I think those people, they're too deep into energy work and Kundalini yoga and all that stuff. The mind's trying to use a spiritual practice to get to the awakening. That's okay on a certain level, of course. What we're doing here, you can say the human self is talking and using this non-dual practice as a pointing to try to help interiorize the consciousness more. But there's overdoing it. And a lot of the Kundalini and energy work type exercises, you can get in trouble. You're probably not going to end up like a burnt mark, but it can cause, there's people that have tremendous anxiety and restlessness and they're awakening some currents that shouldn't be awoke. We should let this happen organically, you see. So that's important to realize. I was in India and I fell in that trap a little bit too, because you're like, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get that awakening. No. People experience what an awakening is when the consciousness is just consciousness. There's a recognition of that. Consciousness is always just consciousness, but there's a recognition, like we're self-aware. This is the benefit we have over animals. They don't have that. Although Lahiri Mahashai did I finally say his name right? Wow. He was working on that. He was working on trying to accelerate the animal's evolution when he was here. Good man, huh? So, but generally animals and insects and all the other kingdoms, they're not aware, self-aware on this planet. So that's the benefit of having a human body. We've worked our way up to where we've inherited this advanced, chakra system, neurological system, and then the consciousness that's localized itself in here can actually become self-aware and realize itself. That's what an awakening is. But we have that we have that many times. Many people have experienced that and don't know it. They just never paid attention to it. Pay attention. Here's an easy one. You can experience am I going to sound like the ones that merchandise the awakening now by what I'm going to say? Because what I'm going to say is you can experience an awakening within 24 hours. This is what I'm saying, because you can. You can at least taste it. And here's how. I wonder if I should make a video on that just for the fun of it. I might attract the wrong people though. Or I could put awakening in 24 hours and then put this is a farce or something. But it's really not though. You know? I don't know. I'll work on it. So when you wake up in the morning, there's a couple seconds. The consciousness, at first, the consciousness is like just deep into its own self. There's no cognitive realization of it though, because deep sleep, you know, everything shuts down. There's some people that say they're aware also in deep sleep, but you're aware but not aware. Okay, I don't want. Let's get to the point. So when you wake up in the morning, like that first second or two, it's like the consciousness is incarnating again into its form. It was universal. It's always universal, but you know, it wasn't localizing itself too much, enough just to keep the body alive. Because if the consciousness totally left the body, it wouldn't even be a skid mark. It'd just be nothing. So the consciousness in the morning, it's like it activates again, and then that first couple seconds, it's very spacious. You don't really know that you're a body. See, most miss that because the body consciousness identity comes very fast, so they might miss that. Maybe it's a half a second. You know, it depends how long you can keep it going. You know, if you just stay there, you can extend it. Anyway, that's an example. That's an example of, you can say, an experience of awakening. Because what's awakening? When the consciousness realizes its own self. When it's really marinating in that, and it's like withdrawn from the mind and the emotions and the whole human construct. You can call that samadhi too. I like to demystify things too, because otherwise people can think that this thing is just some far out, you know, future thing that we got to like spend 100 lifetimes before we can experience. So I'm trying to say no, that's not true. At the same time, I'm not cheapening it. I'm not saying like, yeah, anybody can experience this, you know, or even one better. We're already that. Don't have to do anything. No spiritual awakening, no nothing. We're already that. Yeah, no. So I'm trying to bring balance here. There's a game of evolution that we're in where the consciousness is experiencing ignorance of its true self and then realization of itself. You can't skip that game. I mean, you can try. You can mentally just say it doesn't exist, but life will create some situations for you to where you're gonna have to face that this duality does exist, and that this game of transcendence may not be over for you. Maybe it is. Good one if it is. I can feel. If I see you, I'll know. All right, let me know. I enjoyed making these last two videos. Let me know if you enjoyed them, and leave me some questions or topic ideas, because that's what gets me going. I gotta, you know, I'm not making topics and videos for myself. I'm making it for you. But until I get enough suggestions, I got to come up with them on my own. And sometimes I get a topic I just like these last two I kind of liked, and I want to make, what was the funny one I was going to make? The satire one. I don't know. I got to watch the video, and because I think that was that was a fun one too. Have a good day.